Hey guys, welcome to the Bourboneering YouTube channel. I'm your host Austin. Let's get started. Sorry I missed a week. I was in Kentucky, but I kind of want to do a little review of that. And I picked up some bottles in Kentucky that I want to review here. Now, Friday I will be releasing my podcast recap of the whole trip, so check that out for sure. And I have videos documenting my whole trip on TikTok, so check that out as well. But today, I wanted to take some budget bourbons and compare them. These are all Heaven Hill bourbons, all around the $12.99 mark for a fifth. Excuse me. A couple of them are only available in Kentucky, which is the issue. But I'm going to compare them in my usual taste, nose, taste, and finish. I'm also going to compare price, which are all the same, so that's easy. Availability. And a little something special. I'm going to see how they all fit in an old fashioned. Because these are budget, I want to see, where they fit best. So I'm going to try it every way I can. Maybe even I'll do it later. Go back to them on the rocks or with a little water or something. But anyway, let's get started with our initial neat first. So start with the Heaven Hill green label here. This is a 90 proof Heaven Hill budget bottle. Again, 6 years old. Fantastic bargain for the age. Get $12.99. It's a little sketchy even in Kentucky, but right now I believe it's only available in Kentucky. But Kentucky does ship now. So if your state can receive whiskey, Kentucky can send it. That's one way to think about it. But let's get started, shall we? Right off the nose, it's not super complex, but it's not young. I mean, obviously it's 6 years old. It does not smell like a young budget whiskey. It's not mellow corn by any means, and I love mellow corn. So, in fact, it's a bottle sitting over there. Yeah, it's not super complex. It's what you think of when you think of bourbon. Those classic cinnamon notes, kind of cinnamon, a little bit of brown sugar, lighter, a little more on the floral side. Not super complex, really not. But again, 90 proof budget bottle. So, good taste. It's super easy to drink. Like, there is no burn at all. A little, maybe on the tail end, there's a little bit. Just knocking up those cinnamon notes, brown sugar notes. Again, classic bourbon. Really simple, one-noted. Doesn't taste too watered down, but you're not going to be struggling here to pull out different layers. It's not there. It's just bourbon, old-style bourbon. That's what it is. As far as the finish goes, not a bad finish. It tastes good. It's a little medium short, but more than I expected out of that. And that's really good. That's delicious. All right. Okay. Let's pull out here. This is JTS Brown. These two I've never had before till now. This is Bottle and Bond. Again, about $12.99. Only available in Kentucky. I believe they have an 80 proof version as well. It's even cheaper, but I did not see that. Ooh, the nose, a little more complexity. Definitely a little more proof there. You get a little bit of ethanol, but there's more apple, maybe like an apple skin, green apple skin, on top of your regular cinnamon, brown sugar, of course. A lot more complexity on this nose. Wow. So it's at least 4 years old. I don't think it has an age statement on it. So it's Bottle and Bond, so it has to be at least 4. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. Around 4. Sweeter on the taste than the Heaven Hill. A little more of that floral kind of, almost like a wild turkey kind of funk to it. Like a bread pudding, maybe. That appley light floral notes there. Good brown sugar cinnamon. Finish, though. Much longer than the Heaven Hill on the finish. Very similar in flavor, but much longer. That's delicious. Okay. All right. JTS Brown is overtaking the Heaven Hill just a little bit. Just a little bit. And also JTS Brown in Kentucky is a little bit easier to find. Again, it's only Kentucky, so it's limited. But it's a little more available than this Heaven Hill. And the Heaven Hill, some places will go for 10. So this tends to be just a little bit cheaper on average, maybe, but it's usually all these are the same, roughly. All right, JW Dant. Before I get into this, also Bottle and Bond, also made by Heaven Hill. I don't know if there's any mash bill differences, but these two kind of often go head to head. So this one is it's a little more available outside of Kentucky. There's a bug flying around me. But it's a little more expensive outside of Kentucky. Like this bottle, I think it was like $17.99 outside of Kentucky. In Kentucky, it's $12.99, just like the rest of them. You can get, I've gotten for about $20, $22, I got a handle of this. In fact, is it? It's not here anymore, but I had a handle of this. So a little more available, different sizes. Just take that as you will. It's going to win a little bit on the availability. It's not going to win on the budget because, again, at its baseline, it's the same, whereas Heaven Hill's baseline may be a little bit lower than the rest. This one's about the same. Doing it live, people. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so just take that into account. It's kind of the more pricey of the three if you had to average it out, but way more available, so it wins on that. As you can tell, I use this a lot in Old Fashions. Kind of similar nose to this, but more on the floral side, less on the apple side. Oh, and then we get into more of a caramel. All right, so this, okay. Getting that past that first nose, this is a lot more like classic Heaven Hill kind of juice. Way more in the deep, rich caramel and brown sugar notes, like a caramel cake or a German chocolate minus the coconut. Or that caramelly kind of dark chocolate note. The nose is, this is the best nose of the three, I believe. The taste is a little bit, I don't want to say lackluster. It's really good. It's probably about the same as JTS Brown. But the nose is way more complex than the taste. Taste is just kind of simple. Good. It's good, but simple bourbon. Again, it's Bottle and Bond, so it's at least 4 years old. I don't believe there's an age statement anywhere saying it's higher. There's definitely similarities, but I'm nitpicking here, especially between these two. I'm really nitpicking. Heaven Hill is the Heaven Hill green label is a little bit different. It's weird. So this is labeled Heaven Hill, but they're all three made by Heaven Hill. That's just the confusion out of there. All right. Let me compare these two. Again, nose to nose. Because this is what this video is about. These two. This is kind of the big argument. This was just a bonus that I found, and I'm happy I found it. Yeah. I mean, just nose to nose, I like Dant just a little bit better. But I think I like JTS. Tastes a little, I don't know. No. Okay. They're pretty close on the taste. JTS Brown may have, the front palate may have a little bit of an advantage over the Dant. But honestly, that JW Dant's finish is way better than any of the three. I'm going to have to give that one to Dant. Let me, go back to Heaven Hill here. Okay, this is very different from the three. It's like the Black Sheep. Not in a bad way. It's just very different. That 90 proof kind of turns down the flavor compared to the Bottle and Bond on these two. But this is just good sipping. Like, I mean, they all are. They're all really kind of, your baseline sippers. But it's a mood thing for me. Like, I might be in the mood for something that's closer to this, or I might be in the mood for this. I hate to, say this is the third of the three. I don't know. All right. Let me gather myself for some conclusions. Before we go to the cocktail I'm going to do a whole separate thing that's going to be at the end. But first, let me talk about our sponsor, which of course is the Bourbon Society of Baton Rouge. They're the reason I went to Kentucky, actually. They're doing a barrel pick, so I went with the group, checked it out, check out some different distilleries, and they did some really cool barrel picks coming out. We We have a bunch of barrel picks out right now that we've done. That's a great reason to join, but that's not the biggest reason. The biggest reason to me is the community. They'll take you wherever you are on your whiskey journey. We have newbies, we have experienced people, we have people who know what they're talking about, some people that want to learn. It's a great community to jump into. Not to mention all the charity organizations we work with. We recently raised $28,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in Mississippi and Mississippi and Louisiana, excuse me, with our Screw Cancer barrel as well as a bottle raffle ticket sales. We do things like that every quarter. We have a Toys for Tots during Christmas time drive that raises a bunch of money. And it all helps local people, local community, people directly impacted by cancer or, poverty and kids needing toys, things like that. It's not necessarily going to some big giant organization. It's helping local people. So that's just a couple reasons to join. Go check out bourbonbr.com/join if you're interested. All right, let me give you a little follow-up here, and then we'll go to my cocktail section. Just drinking it neat. I'm splitting these two up. This might fall third on the list because it's just a little bit lower proof, but these are all three amazing, delicious. If you can get your hands on it, grab it. And there's this stupid gnat that keeps flying around here. But I'm going to keep these on these separately. I'm just going to really compare these two. This is delicious. If you can get it, grab it. Get as many bottles as you can. It's awesome. But it's lower proof. It's simple. You get what you get. It's amazing for the price. These two also great for the price. Let me recap. Price and availability aside, I'm going to have to give the edge to JW Dant just a little bit. They're both, again, I can't emphasize this enough, they're both awesome. JTS Brown, it wins on just the straight taste when it first hits your tongue, but Dant gets it on the nose and on the finish. Now, JTS Brown, everywhere I saw it in Kentucky was the same price, around $12.99. JW Dant, so when I saw it in Kentucky, it was usually around $12.99, but some places had it for a little bit higher. It's available outside of Kentucky. It's harder to find outside of Kentucky, but it's available, and it's usually a little bit more pricey. So take that as you will. I'm going to have to give the edge just drinking it neat to Dant. We're going to take into consideration the cocktails in a second. So I'm going to show you how I made these old fashions real quick, and we're going to taste them. So I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, I am back, and now it's time for the cocktail segment. Basically, I made a quick old fashioned, as you just saw, with all three of these whiskeys here, these bourbons, and I'm going to compare them. I don't think it's going to change my score much, but I really wanted to check this out. Don't worry, I'm not going to be wasting these old fashions. I have people here to drink them. Alright, start with the Heaven Hill. I don't normally do pre-made. I usually do, bigger batch old fashioned. Y'all know my recipe. 3 ounces of whiskey to half an ounce of simple with a couple dashes of things. But let's get started here. So I use a Demerara, 2-to-1 Demerara syrup. Might be a little sweet, especially for this Heaven Hill. It's a little sweet. I mean, it's good. It's a good dessert, old fashioned, but it's a little sweet. Yeah, I don't get much of the whiskey at all. A little bit on the tail end, but that one's really not my favorite. Not a great way to start. I'm starting with the Heaven Hill because it's lower proof on everything, so. It's pretty cloyingly sweet. I hope I didn't over-sweeten these. I did half an ounce to, I'm sorry, I did a quarter ounce of simple syrup to 2 ounces of whiskey, which I don't want to do the math, but that's roughly my usual ratio. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't overtop. This is a smaller glass than I thought. All right, here we got our JTS. No, we're good. Still on the sweeter end, but I can actually taste the whiskey in this one. I will need to do, well, I'm going to try it first with my original recipe, which is half an ounce of syrup to 3 ounces of whiskey rather than 2 to a quarter ounce. But this is a lot better. It's definitely like a dessert, though. Still pretty sweet. It does old fashioned. Heaven Hill, I need to tweak that recipe if I'm going to use that for an old fashioned, but I think it's going to be a sipper. JTS is pretty easy. All right, finally, let's get to our JW Dant. This one I've used in this old fashioned before. Again, I usually use 3 ounces of whiskey instead of 2, and half an ounce of simple instead of quarter. But I don't want to get that drunk. I don't want to get my friends that drunk. I need to go home. All right. Give this one a pour. Again, I also don't usually batch them. I usually make them offhand, but I'm lazy, so I made them all at the same time. What am I doing? I'll be honest, I can't really taste much difference between these two in terms of the old fashioned. No, they're almost identical, which is fine. That makes sense. All right, that was quick. I hope you enjoyed my little, old fashioned making there. There's not that much difference here. And next time I'm gonna use a lesser simple syrup, and we'll work on that. But some, again, final thoughts. Basically, it's what I said at the end of the last one. I thought going into this that JW Dant was just gonna barely win because of its availability, but it actually won based off taste alone, I believe, and then availability is just a plus. Again, it's a little more pricey outside of Kentucky, but it's pretty dang good. I'm going to go JW Dant winner here over JTS Brown, just barely. These are all three amazing. Heaven Hill's in its own category. I wouldn't use it as a mixer. I would drink it neat. It's simple. It's good. It's great. It's the best 6-year for your dollar on the market, I believe. So check all these out if you get a chance. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Cheers, everybody.